Hello everyone, welcome to Cinema Magic. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button as we recap the 2020 American superhero movie titled Bloodshot, directed by David S.F. Wilson. Vin Diesel plays the lead in this, and Sam Heughan, Guy Pearce, Isa Gonzalez, and Toby Kebbell provide supporting performances. The first scene features a soldier named Marin Ray. With a gun in his hand, he engages in combat, shooting and killing everyone in his path. As soon as he goes inside, he sees a terrorist pointing a gun at a man. Gazing at the terrorist, he instructs him to put down his weapon. After that, Ray asks, "What do you want?" and subsequently demands a helicopter. Ray responds, "If you want a helicopter, then let me call." As soon as he gestures towards the phone, Ray seizes the opportunity to kill him by firing at it. He saves the man at gunpoint. The next scene begins at Aviano Air Base, with many soldiers descending from aircraft and helicopters. Marin Ray's slogans are in his voice. No mission is too difficult, nor is any sacrifice too great. And everyone shouts, "Duty first." Then Ray goes to meet his wife. After a successful rescue operation, Ray and his wife travel to Mombasa, Italy, to spend the holidays, only to have Martin Axe kidnap them. Martin is eager to collect information about the hostage operation at Mombasa. He asks many things of him. Ray responds, "You can ask me anything except it. I know nothing about it." Later, Ray reassures his wife that everything will be fine. However, the kidnapper informs him that nothing will be fine now, and they proceed to murder her. In anguish, Ray declares, "I swear that I will fight you, and I will finish you. I will do it." At this point, the kidnapper also takes Ray's life. In the subsequent scene, Ray finds himself at a location where wires have been properly attached. As soon as Ray regains consciousness, he falls, thereby removing the wires from his body. Meanwhile, a girl named Ket arrives and says that everything is going to be fine. Meanwhile, a new character, Dr. Harding, appears and says Ray welcomes the Rising Spirit technology. He says, "I am Dr. Harding, and he says that you're awakening." He informs Ray that the military has donated your body to us, resulting in your death. Dr. Harding gives him the ability to become a superpower. He aims to transform him into a formidable weapon for his organization. Dr. Harding says that you are the first one whom we have successfully brought back, and it has happened very beautifully. You are the first one who has a second chance. He also informs him that we are creating a valuable asset for the US military, employing experts who will enhance the speed and power of our soldiers. The doctor then experiments on Ray's hand. He injures his hand. As soon as Ray injures his hand, the wound heals quickly. It is a biomechanical device that responds swiftly to injuries. This technology reportedly has the ability to instantly cure many damaged tissues. After this, KT says that you will not know who you are because you have been classified, and Dr. Harding says he was your past, but this is your future. Dr. Harding then introduces himself, stating, "I was a tennis player and champion, but at the age of 15 I received a cancer diagnosis and had my arm castrated." He then demonstrates to Ray the installation of a new mechanically powered arm. Next, he informs Ray that if soldiers lose their arms, we will replace them with a new, more powerful arm. Following this, he introduces Ray to his other patients, which include Jimmy and numerous others. He states that these patients are growing in strength and power. Jimmy, who lost his legs, now wears an artificial leg, while his partner, who lost his eyes, has cameras on him. In the next scene, when Ray wakes up, he discovers that he possesses extra energy and significantly more strength. When Ray punches the pillar, it breaks instead of injuring his hand, and he is able to effortlessly lift even the heaviest dumbbell. Then he encounters KT, who is swimming, and declares, "This is a nightmare, and I no longer have my memories." As soon as she gives him a drink, a flashback begins to play in his mind, triggering memories of his wife's murder and all his past experiences. He angrily hits his hand on the table and then quickly walks out with his bag. Dr. Harding is observing the proceedings through the camera and inquires about Ray's destination. He tells his assistant to open the channel as soon as possible while he asks Ray where he is going. Ray says, "How can you talk to me?" According to Dr. Harding, billions of wireless processors are running inside your body. You must return to us, as we are the only people you know. He asserts that my wife was the murder victim. I need to verify this, and once I do, Dr. Harding will inquire about the identity of the murderer. Following this, Martin Axe's identity becomes clear. Dr. Harding urges Ray to return because he is a multi-million-dollar project, but Ray disregards his advice, sits in the pilot's seat, and departs from the plane. We now identify the location as Kuala Lumpur, which is equivalent to Budapest. Now, a place is shown where Martin Axe is being taken away in a car. As they pass through the tunnel, the lights in the area abruptly turn off. Suddenly, a truck arrives and crashes into them. Martin Axe is sitting in the car, and two men are nearby. He tells them to let him go outside. On the other side, Ray arrives and begins firing. Martin yells, "Extricate me from this vehicle." Ray endures bullets, but his transformation into a superhuman force shields him from harm. On the other hand, the police, bodyguards, and everyone else attacked him with bombs. But nothing happened to Ray. Eventually, he moves towards Martin Axe's car and murders him. The next scene takes place on an airfield. Ray arrives at the airfield in his Jeep, where Jimmy, Marcus, and KT, the scientist's patients, are waiting for him. They then return him to the laboratory. He tells KT that he killed the man who had murdered his wife. I have accomplished my task. And all of this brings Ray back to the rising spirit to reprogram. Dr. Harding is erasing Ray's memories in the lab. He is programming his mind to create false memories. He is replacing his wife's memory of her death with a new one. To eliminate the rivals of the rising spirit, the existing memories are removed, and he is reprogrammed. Dr. Harding asserts that our actions served a specific purpose, indicating that he is utilizing Ray in accordance with his desires. Using Ray as a weapon, Harding sets his sights on Nick Barris, whom he must eliminate. That's why he inserts Nick Barris's picture instead of Martin Axe's in his memory. Once more, Ray departs with the car, and Dr. Harding reiterates his statements in accordance with his plan. For example, "Where are you going? We are the people who know you." Someone then asks, "Who are you going after?" But this time he said that I was going after Nick Barris. Ray now travels by aircraft to East Sussex, England, where Barris resides. While working in his office, Barris receives a briefcase containing an EMP bomb from his programmer named Wiggins. Meanwhile, Dr. Harding is closely monitoring the situation through his camera. Ray enters the scene and begins attacking everyone. After some time, he approaches Barris and says, "You have murdered my wife." Barris responds, "This is a lie you don't understand." But Ray kills him before leaving. Ray begins to lose his senses and eventually becomes unconscious. When Ray is unaware, Wiggin, Paris's programmer, takes over. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this movie so far, please click the like and subscribe buttons to receive all our future movie summaries. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. It reveals that Harding's lab has lost a signal. When Ray regains consciousness, he begins to attack Wiggins. Then Wiggins says, "I am friendly, and I am your well-wisher." But right now, he is thinking about why his wife's murderer is different every time. Wiggins is also surprised by it. He informs Wiggin that his wife's name is Gina, then proceeds to cut his hand, draw his blood into a glass, and present it to him. Wiggin remarks that it's remarkable that you're operating a fully programmable system. This further demonstrates how the rising spirit has instilled false memories in you, turning you into a lethal machine. In response to this, Ray declares that the program will not last for long. He also learns that his wife is still alive, prompting him to search for her and instruct her to return home. Gina says, "What happened to you? Everything was settled. Now I have a family." Ray asks, "When did we meet last time?" his wife replied, 5 years ago. Hearing it, Ray is astonished. Ray then bursts into tears as he leaves the scene. Jimmy and his partner's car struck Ray while he was driving. They also start firing at him. A gunshot causes Ray's body part to turn blue, from which he extracts a chip and flees. Jimmy and his partner attempt to track Ray's movements. As soon as he fires the bullets into the air, they become cameras that reveal Ray's location. Ray comes under fire, but he swiftly grabs the gun from a police car and begins firing. As he engages in a fight with Jimmy, he stumbles and falls onto the public road. Meanwhile, a truck approaches and passes over both of them, leaving Ray unharmed and requiring recovery. Jim's legs have been artificially separated. After some time, Jimmy stabs the device on his back, which causes Ray to become unconscious again. Now, KT becomes a little friendly towards Ray, whereas in the lab, when the doctor gives some orders, she forbids them to obey the command. On this, he stops her breathing system, causing her to become ill, and after that, she agrees to obey the command and goes to find Wiggins. The next scene takes place in London. When she gets to Wiggins, she asks him for a lighter to smoke, and as soon as she starts, she inhales the smoke, knocking Wiggins unconscious. While fighting with his security guards, she kills them. Now, when Ray regains consciousness, he is with Dr. Harding. Ray asserts that you exploited me and orchestrated my murder. Have you ever tried to expose my wife's murder? Dr. Harding says that revenge is something that makes men like you exceptional. Ray remarks, "People like you break people like me, but you can't control us and it won't happen." Abruptly, Dr. Harding restores him to his previous state, leaving him completely devoid of consciousness. On one side, Dr. Harding is conducting his programming over the phone, while Wiggins initiates his programming on the other. Try to assist Ray so that he can save his life and transport him to the correct location. Now that he understands KT's strategy, Dr. Harding attempts to halt KT's breathing system once more, but he is unable to gain access. On one hand, Jim transforms into his true self and embarks on a battle with Ray. Wiggin is now in charge of Ray's programming. Ray declares, "I am going to complete the task." Now, Ray arrives at Jimmy's location with his friends, Marcus included, and engages in a fight with them. Jimmy's other friend also comes to help him. Jimmy and Marcus are now fighting the battle together. Ray uses his superhuman powers to inflict severe injuries on Jimmy. While Dr. Harding is running away, Jimmy's hand hits his car and it stops. Ray walks towards Harding, and the doctor yells that I was the only one who rebuilt you. If I am not there, then you too will not be able to survive. But Ray angrily moves towards the doctor. With a weapon in his hand, Dr. Harding attacks Ray, but Ray blocks the bullet with his hand. Conversely, Wiggins maintains equal control over Ray's body and mind, yet numerous alterations persist, leading him to drop the bomb in his hand onto the ground, triggering a massive explosion. Dr. Harding also dies. In the next scene, when Ray opens his eyes, he asks where I am. Therefore, Wiggin encourages Ray to relax and inquires about his current state of well-being. Ray steps outside, expressing gratitude to Wiggin for meeting Katie, while Katie remains seated outside. So, how was the movie? I hope you guys like it. Who was your favorite character from this movie? Let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button.